Good day, fellow geeks. This week on Geeks of Azeroth, Blizzard has cancelled Titan. Murad is very sad. And there's a new undelete button in World of Warcraft, plus much more on this week's episode of Geeks of Azeroth. Hello, welcome to the show. My name's Tarly, and with me, the usual suspects, we've got Zool and Britza. I got it right this time.
Woo! I think you remembered it better than I did.
Well, let's go ahead and see how everybody's been doing in Azeroth. Let's start with you, Zool.
I have not been able to spend any time in Azeroth, so I've made the transition this week from working one job full-time to another job full-time. And so during the week, I was working both jobs quite a bit, so I've been rather busy. But the switch is made now, and I'll have more time this upcoming week.
Real life problems.
Real life
no.
problems. Yep. What about you, Tom? Britza, Tom? Britza, Tom?
You choose. I've been good, thanks. I kind of a couple of weeks ahead of where Zool is. I had a job transition and now I've started to get settled into it, so I've had a lot more free time, a lot more regular free time. I think that's the problem, is that I think maybe in your case, Zool, without going into details, that I found myself months ago unsure of when I was working because of my shift change and things like that. But now I have time to sit down. I've been raiding with my guild. However, we've had a bit a problem in regards to, as we start to get nearest the expansion, and I imagine this is something most guilds are facing, you find that if you've got a 10-man regular raid team, 3 of those will, you might have real life things coming into it, but 3 of them probably have sort of fatigued out of the game, really. So it's becoming harder and harder to get these groups together. So really, it's been hitting the old expansion content, and not even last expansions, but we've been hitting, what did we do? Normal Heart of Fear we did on Wednesday, so that was good. We're going to hopefully smash out Heroic either this Sunday or the week after, but it's a fun chance in a way to revisit old content, but it's good. I think we're all just sort of rushing for that old stuff, really.
Yeah, I think everybody's kind of doing that at this point. Everybody's realizing the legendary cloak's going away and stuff, so get it in while you can. I myself, not much in Azeroth this week. I ran Siege of Orgrimmar again, killed Garrosh, and alas, still no heirloom weapon has dropped. This game really...
I thought it was guaranteed.
Not yet. Not until 6.0.
Oh.
So I might as well just wait. Because I've got all the other gear I need, just need that heirloom.
You don't want like 10 of them or something like that.
Well, I would like one for all of my characters, but, that's just getting carried away.
Yeah, you're just greedy at that point.
Moving on, first topic of the day, some news across Azeroth. The pre-patch for the pre-patch is now available for download. That's right, you can turn on your Battle.net launcher thingamajig and start downloading the pre-patch already, so you can start playing immediately on whatever Tuesday that launches. I think this is good stuff. Finally, we don't have to sit there, until like usually 3 or 4 in the afternoon, as Blizzard does on, big patch days.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Certainly, yeah, but obviously there were a few problems. Blizzard. Few. Not all of us have loads and loads of storage space.
Yes, it was quite big at first. What was it, 16 gig download?
Yeah, 15, 16 gig originally. And people were trying to download this thing. And obviously it's a background downloader. So it might do it at 100 kilobytes a second as you're playing the game in the background.
Slow.
That's very slow. I mean, you can change that in your in your BattleNet settings, things like that. But
Hmm.
still, it was massive file considering it's just sort of pre-patch stuff at this stage, and people downloaded part of it, and then Blizzard decided no, the file's too big. They took it down. In some cases, most cases, people were part of the way through, didn't know what was going on, and Blizzard said, listen, don't worry about it, we're going to make the file size smaller. The files you've downloaded will still be relevant somehow, but we're going to re-release it and it won't take anywhere near as long. So
I think
they've now done that.
I think they just used a different compression method to get it to people easier. You have to keep in mind, I think they're actually going the same launch style that they did with Mists of Pandaria, and you're getting the entire Warlords of Draenor with this download. Essentially. You're getting the entire new expansion, so when the expansion launches at, midnight or whatever time it is, flip a switch, you're in the game.
Yep.
So what's the... Because I've said on a couple of shows, I'm the sort of person who likes to have a physical copy, because I've got other physical copies. That's pointless now, clearly, isn't it?
Yes.
Because I'm already going to have the game. Yeah. I literally am just wasting time. Oh, okay, that's good. That's good to know. Thanks
you're just going to pick up your CD key instead of having it auto-added to your account.
Yeah.
So I've got to do the work.
You could just, from the comfort of your home, activate it that way, but...
No, I've held out this long. It's principle now.
Well, it's no longer like you go to the midnight release and you're like, I'm one of the first people to hold the box. I just got the box. Oh, people are already playing at home right now.
Yeah. Goodbye, world first.
Also this week, Blizzard releases the system requirements for Warlords of Draenor. At least the minimum requirements haven't changed much. I mean, they've changed since 2004, obviously, but... minimum requirements, pretty simple. You need a Core 2 Duo, at least Intel processor, or an AMD Phenom X3 8750. If you don't know what that is, look on the internet. You have to have at least Windows XP, so sorry, Windows Millennium Edition users, you cannot play Warlords of Draenor.
If you're still using Millennium Edition, you've got other problems.
As far as graphics card goes, you need an NVIDIA GeForce 8800 GT or higher, which the 8800 is not a very high-end graphics card, so you'll be able to play this game, pretty much, on low-end quality. You can even run it on Intel HD graphics, so pretty much if you have a laptop with nothing in it, you can still play this game. Mac users, however, you do have to have OS X 10.8 or higher. So get up to Mavericks, people. Intel Core 2 Duo and NVIDIA GeForce or ATI Radeon inside your Mac. And please have 35 gigs of hard drive space. 2 gigs of RAM, pretty standard. If you don't have 2 gigs of RAM, come on, get with the times. Broadband internet connection. If you did not know that you need internet to play World of Warcraft, you need a smack in the head. Keyboard and mouse, pretty obvious. CD-ROM if you're like Tom, and that's pretty basic stuff there.
I like in the recommended specs multi-button mouse with scroll wheel.
Yes.
That's specified as different from just having a mouse.
Yes. Razer Naga is a perfect example of that kind of mouse.
I love my Naga.
But I think the advantage, again, Tyler, you'll know a lot better than I will, but I think the advantage of having the pre-patch in place is that people can pretty much be safe in the knowledge that, the day before Warlords releases, if you are still able to play World of Warcraft, you will be playing it. It's not a question of the flip, the switch will be flicked and, everything bursts into flames, which could happen tonight. Who knows? But
I'm logging in for the first time since the new patch. Oh.
No Warlords for you, Timmy.
There's fire in my computer case. That means it's working really well.
That means you're cool, because it has flames.
Do you not think, though, that this is... it's kind of a testament to how well WoW's been put together, because there's some games out there that are, not...
They would not run on those minimum specifications. Yeah.
No, that's why... Yes. I mean, even some of Blizzard's other games, StarCraft 2 and Diablo, are very similar, to my knowledge, but still, you are... they have done an amazing job getting clients to work that well. I mean, some companies have done it better.
I know Diablo on those very low-end specs runs very poorly.
Yeah.
It's
There's a
awful.
lot going on in that game.
Yeah, so they've definitely done a good job with WoW keeping it very accessible. I really like the new implementation of raid settings and then normal settings.
Yes.
So if you have like if your computer slows down when there's just a lot of stuff happening, you can turn that down to specifically be set lower during raiding.
And then when you're out
So,
questing, it bumps back up to a little bit higher again.
yep,
Really cool.
I'm a fan of
And
that.
this is molten core level raiding we're talking about. I think any computer's going to struggle when 40 people start hitting their heroes and things like that.
Yes. So also this week, Blizzard put out another blog, Garrisons Preview Part 2, discussing more in detail the different buildings, their different sizes, their different levels, and how you level them, different plan types. Uh, some good stuff in here.
Yeah, there's a lot of info.
Zool, you want to carry this one away?
Sure, yeah. So they talked about all the different buildings. They started talking more about the different plot sizes and kind of when you unlock them. So, like when you first start out, Garrison Tier 1, you have one small building and one large building, and that's it.
Mhm.
And then at Tier 2 is when you get a medium plot and a second small. So then you'll have two small, one medium, and one large. And then it says room for 3 of 4 preset buildings. So it sounds to me like I thought there was just small, medium, large buildings and you mix and match them. But it sounds like there's that, plus there's a certain number of preset buildings that you get to pick just, like part of them. Because the 4 preset buildings I said are the fishing shack, the herb garden, the pet menagerie, and then Alliance, Lunar Fall, Excavation, Horde, Frostwolf Mine. And you get to pick 3 of those. So you're going to be missing out on one of them.
So it
And then
seems
eventually you get all 4.
it
Eventually
seems
you do
very
get all.
linear, at least at first, and like kind of very much
Yeah.
telling you how to build your garrison.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
It really leads you probably so you can start because as you get more into it, you realize there's a lot going on. So it's probably like very hand holding at first, but then when you get to tier 3, you have one more building of each size. So that comes up to what three small buildings, 2 mediums, and 2 larges, plus all 4 of those preset buildings. And that's when you have a lot more options that what can go into those. I mean, just for small buildings alone, you have Engineering Works, Alchemy Lab, Enchanter Study, Gem Boutique, Salvage Yard, Scribe's Quarter, Storehouse, Tailoring Emporium, Forge, and Tannery. So you have 10 choices of small buildings.
yeah.
You can pick 3 of them.
I
So
guess that's the
that's when
advantage
it
of
gets a
having
lot
alts.
more. Yeah, exactly.
Um, I'm looking forward to the large plots. Those buildings seem the most interesting, like the Mage
You get some
Tower,
cool
or the
benefits.
yeah, the barracks. The war mill, stables. All of that sounds really interesting. I'm just wondering if the stables are like a visual representation of what's of your mounts, or is that like
Uh,
a hunter thing?
it says what the stables can do is you can capture and train special mounts on
Mm.
Draenor. So
So if you're a
there's going
mount
to be
hoarder,
mounts that you can only get it if you have the stables.
it looks like I'm building a
And
stable.
it sounds a lot like in Mists of Pandaria they added the unique pets that hunters could go out and tame. They'd have to like follow footprints and do all this special stuff to tame them.
Hmm.
It's the same thing but for mounts. So it's not just hunters now because it says these unique mounts spawn all across the world, and after you find and lasso them, you'll send them to your garrison for training. And then you have to do quests to train them before they even get added to your collection.
I like this, Blizzard.
Yeah, and then once they're added, they're account wide. So you only have to have this is where alts come in. Only one of your alts needs to have the stables to be able to get all those special mounts for all your characters. And you eventually get increased mounted speed on Draenor.
Yes. Tell me your
And you
thoughts
can
on this.
interact with objects while on your mount. So mining nodes, herb nodes, quest
Yes, I
items, you
like
don't
that.
have to dismount. So
That's
stables are sound pretty cool. But then you read the other ones, you're like, but that one sounds good too. And that one sounds good. And dang it.
nice. Tom, you got any thoughts on the new Garrison stuff?
I, my head's hurting with all this info. There's a lot here,
There
but
is a lot.
it's I mean the one thing is obviously they carefully numbered it so that you need 4 alts to manage to have everything. I mean you could do it on 3, but you miss out on 1. But I mean it sounds really good. There's nothing else I can really say, to be honest. I'm really excited. However, I will say that in general, in respects to these little posts that Blizzard are doing, I'm really pleased that they're starting. WoW has some really amazing sort of third-party websites and sources of information that really help the community. But I'm glad Blizzard is being the first source of information in pretty much these instances. I think that's the thing they've struggled with, is that these new features come into the game and people automatically going, right, I need to get on Google and find out what's going on and how this works. And they have literally spelt it out here. This is how it's going to operate and things like that. I mean, obviously you will turn to, things like Wowhead to find out more, but I'm really glad that literally all you need to do to start off with your garrison once you hit that cap is all here, and everything else they'll walk you through it. So I'm really pleased, really pleased.
Yeah. I'm finding it interesting just reading some of the comments on WoW Insider. Like, basically, it felt like a mandatory mini game that I didn't really want to do. This has me quite worried for the next expansion.
See, a lot of those I don't quite get, because I want to do this. I don't care if it is coming across as mandatory. To me, it sounds really fun and cool.
I mean, I guess it is a matter of personal opinion. If you're not into building bases, I guess it's not something for you. But this is, to me, this strikes a core as someone who played the original Warcraft 1, 2, and 3.
Right?
This is really awesome because it's adding that
what
type
you did.
of feel. Yeah, you're building your base, and you even have the guys that walk around going, "Work, more work."
Job's done.
But also, it's a mini game.
You keep working on them too much.
Yeah, I remember that one. What was it? Is it the faction leaders as well? They threaten to blow your head off.
You don't stop touching me.
That's for a different court case. But the thing though that I found in relation to that post was that, yeah, I can see why some people think it's a mandatory minigame, but the thing with Garrisons is it's a minigame that's designed to take out the tedium that has been here since vanilla, which is going out and having to find all this stuff and, all these, almost like all the boring stuff people just got fed up with is now centered around the garrison. And yeah, you might not be your thing, but it beats a lot of the traveling and all the other stuff that you really can't do. And also, it was a time thing. You need to be in game presently to do everything, but this takes that out a little bit. So yeah, it's not for everyone, is what I'm trying to say. But this is such a big improvement to the game as a whole that you can't really complain too much about it. Yeah. But saying that, I do want to say, as you two are Horde players, how do you feel about Jordan Phillips's comment where he or she says that it seems the case that Blizzard doesn't really care too much about the Horde? I know it's a very big comment to make, but they say, why would a goblin? Why would a goblin? I think we know the Horde's got its fair share of attention, but why would a goblin? They say, a master of engineering, live in a primitive orc hut. Why would the Blood Elves, a race of high sophistication, live in primitive orc huts? Do you think that the Horde, which is a faction that's incredibly diverse, is slightly at a disadvantage because not having this rich architecture? I know some of the buildings do have their specific looks, but do you guys feel like if you're a Blood Elf, you should have your buildings look in a particular way, or if you're a Troll, Zul, that you should have yours look in a particular way?
Personally, I don't. You're not going to have all of these Blood Elf workers work their way out to Draenor to build you a special, nice-looking castle. You're using basically what you came to Draenor with, what you can use in Draenor, and you're building it in the style of Horde. And also think of the fact that mostly it's orc peons building it for you. So that's just how it is. I don't think what race you are should define what your garrison looks like. At least not right now.
That's fair enough.
Maybe in the future get skins. I don't know.
When you put it that way, it makes sense as far as story goes, because it's true. If you think about it, it's probably going to be orcs out there building it for you. And I don't think your orcs are going to be trained in Blood Elf architecture. Unless you're like, you get the really artsy orc that was made fun of his entire life, poor guy. But then you get a beautiful garrison. But no, I wish they looked different. I am not a big fan of how the Horde garrisons look.
I agree.
Because
The Alliance ones
this
look
doesn't
gorgeous.
this doesn't fit my characters. It doesn't fit a single one of my characters. Every single one feels out of place when I look at them compared to that architecture. Because even in Orgrimmar, you go to the different sections of Orgrimmar, and they look totally different, depending on what race's area it is, you know?
Do you think going forward we could see like different skinned garrisons, maybe in future expansions or future patches?
I hope so. I hope so. That would be really cool. It'd make a lot of people happy. But yeah, the Alliance garrisons do look better, and it's been really tempting me to level an Alliance so I can do that.
You do have to think of how much work they're already putting into
Yeah,
garrisons too.
exactly.
It would take so much more to add different
I'm
skins
not
for
upset
each building.
I'm not upset that they're not launching with multiple skins because it is a ton of work. I'm like, yeah, just getting it in there is good enough for now. But it would be cool if they can take the time to add in other skins, you know, throughout the expansion.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like how they were originally planning to do the new models. They were going to have a few at launch and then, you know, like another one and then another one. Just do that. Be like, oh, hey, in this patch we have one more race's skins. And then the next patch, oh, we have another one ready. Like, just take our time with it and get them out. They don't have to do it all at once.
That's it. And without getting into a long discussion, I'll end on this. My point, because we could get on a long discussion about the culture of WoW and whether things are portrayed correctly. But in respects to garrisons, the important thing is that Blizzard has sold this as an incredibly personalized thing. You know, it's zoned to you and it affects you. So my sort of response to these comments is, I think there's some merit in the argument of, you're selling this to me as a very personalised aspect of my gaming experience, but you've only given me so many tools to play with. So, you know, but saying that, everything stands. Blizzard has so much work to do, and like you say, there's nothing worse than people asking for something, getting it, and then you realise actually all the effort took so many other features out, because there's always something else we could want out of Garrison. So
there will always be a group of people complaining about something. You always have to remember that, and Blizzard's well aware of that. People will always complain.
And people that are upset are more likely to post than people that are happy. People that are happy just do their thing. I mean, just go look at Yelp reviews. They're all negative. Every single one of them.
And you'll see, like Chris Metzen on stage, like, we have a very enthusiastic community.
Good choice of words. Very diplomatic there. They're very passionate.
Passionate, yeah, that's the word they use, passionate.
What was it he said at the launch event, Chris Metzen? He was like, now, I know some of you have your views on the whole time thing and da-da-da. He said, don't worry, you've got it in safe hands. And I was sitting there going, yeah, I think you've had your fair share of controversy, so...
Yeah.
All right, so moving on, since we've been discussing that for quite a bit of time. Moving on, Blizzard has added an undelete button to the game. So if you ever, were like, I hate this character, delete, and then have deleter's remorse immediately, you can now get your character back, if they are above level 50.
No, it depends on how long it's been.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can do it for anything above level 10.
10.
Characters above... No, level 10 and above, or... Actually, it's better if I just say, you can't undelete, you can never ever undelete a character that's under level 10 or is a level 55 DK. You can recover between level 10 and 29 characters within 90 days. 30 to 49 will be 120 days you've got to recover them. Level 50 and above, you can undelete at any time.
So this is I wonder if this includes all the characters that have been deleted up to this point, or if it starts when this feature is put in.
Well, Blizzard already has a way to recover your characters. You can make a ticket, and then they'll go in and do it. So potentially they can just make that ticket feature. However, their GMs do it. We can just be able to do it. Are they getting rid of all their GMs?
A little more automated.
How often, though, do you think? Firstly, how often do you think this will be used? Do you think it was something that's necessary? And as a final point, will you be using it? Is there a character you'd like to undelete?
Yep. My
Well, you
old
can only
Alliance
use it
Druid.
once every 30 days.
Hmm.
I'm getting my old Alliance Druid back. That's all I can say.
I had a decently high level monk that I'll be bringing back.
I don't know why I ever deleted characters in the first place. I guess I just wanted to clean up my character screen.
I run out of spots because I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Wow. But also, this links into something else that isn't in the show notes. But they've started to, well, Blizzard are about to free up character names that haven't been used in a while.
Yeah.
So, in order, if you've got a character that you haven't logged into, like in my case, I haven't logged into my old main for probably about a year. And so, if I don't log into him, I think before 6.0.2 drops, they will free up his character name for people to use. So I don't know how that plays out if someone creates that character name and then I join again and all that stuff. But it's it links down to this. People bringing characters back, having their names freed up, and all sorts. So you're going to see a little bit of a shift, I think, as people start to bring things. Particularly bringing characters back in your cases.
I'd say it's fair though. When I transferred servers and when I always keep Tarly on my main and. Well, I get over there, and there's a level 2 Warlock that hasn't been played in 2 years, and named Tarly that So I had to use a special A in my name, but whatever. So it's not like Tarly. I don't know how you pronounce it with the A.
Just add in extra vowels.
Tarly. All right, moving on to our big discussion. Never mind, I'm forgetting a topic. Before the big discussion...
Yeah, I thought you are, actually.
BlizzCon 2014 in-game goodies have been announced. Ooh. Yay! Let's have a look at what those are. I'll bring them up on the screen. Actually, there's no... Yes, there is. Here we go. Bring those up on the screen for everybody. We've got nice little things for all the games, including Heroes of the Storm. So we have in Hearthstone, we get a new card back. Element, Blizzard Entertainment themed card back. Design incorporates elements of their normal colors. StarCraft 2 portraits and Heroes of the Storm themed decal. Diablo 3 Warlords of Draenor weapon transmogs. These are very cool. I'll definitely be using these.
Me too.
And then Heroes of the Storm Nexus Mount and Nexus Brawler portrait. Now, to me, the fact that they are including Heroes of the Storm items is almost definite that they're going to announce at least an open beta type thing at BlizzCon.
That's what I'm thinking. At least
you can't
open beta.
Here's something none of you can use.
Just those of you in the technical alpha. Well, I think they recently announced that they're doing the last big wipe of the technical alpha.
Mm-hmm. So we could just be seeing
which means they're moving on to the next phase.
Yeah. So
most likely.
This last part of the alpha will probably go until November 13th.
Mm.
In which case I will be frustrated because I'm not hauling my desktop with me to California, so I won't be able to play it except at the booth there.
I'm definitely most excited for the Diablo 3 weapon transmogs.
Yeah. Well,
I
also,
really want to see the rest of them.
We talked about it last week, but I like the Murloc of the
Gromlock.
Gromlock, yes.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome with this little gore howl.
Yeah. Yeah, the Diablo 3 transmog's pretty cool. I wish that could go over to your console versions of the game as well. Unfortunately,
that's a bit
PC
unusual.
only.
Oh, it is? Oh, yeah,
believe so.
only Windows and Mac.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I play on, so.
I have both, but I have to say I quite enjoy the console version of Diablo 3. It just works with the controller.
I'm planning on getting a PS4 at some point, especially since I've made the job change. I'm going to be doing a little better financially. And even though I have it, I'm planning on picking it up at least to even if I only play it when I have friends over, that's enough for me.
Yeah, it's a cool experience. I think the controller scheme is really well done for Diablo.
Yeah.
But this is a World of Warcraft show. Don't want to get too sidetracked.
It's Blizzard stuff. It's relevant,
it's
kind of.
Relevant, yeah.
It has transmog from WoW.
Yes. All right, moving on now to our big discussion topic this week. Something,
Yes.
I'm not quite sure anybody was really surprised by this, but Blizzard has officially canceled Titan.
Mhm.
Ah!
So it joins the ranks of Warcraft Adventures
StarCraft
and
Ghost.
StarCraft Ghost.
It's in good company.
And this is
Uh-huh.
reportedly costing Blizzard millions of dollars that they have
Really?
canceled this game.
Well, that's, half a month of subscription fees, and they're.
And admittedly, in that defense, there's millions of dollars across however long they've been talking about this game. This game apparently was being mentioned
6
before.
years.
Wow, there were some rumors suggesting so. Only 6 hours, fair enough, but still. But I think, as you said, Sally, it's a game that's been rumored about, hyped about, set back, redesigned, rehyped about, and now cancelled. And in a way, like you said, Zor, it's very much how StarCraft Ghost went. That had loads of setbacks. Well, I guess, what do you think? Do you think we're going to miss Titan, whatever it could have been?
I think Titan was going to be very, very similar to Destiny, to be
Uh-huh.
honest. There's been some leaked notes about
People that used to work for Blizzard, stuff like that.
yeah, saying it was going to be set in the near future. You'll be able to travel to different planets. You'll have professions, and you're fighting different factions. So it's kind of an Earth-based game, and
Yeah.
so
Well, like it said, one of the big leaked things I saw, which obviously this all needs to be taken with a grain of salt because
Yeah.
it's people anonymously saying, "Well, this is what it was when I was working at Blizzard." They were saying that it was going to be like your professions were going to be a huge part of your character, not just something you can choose to do on the side, like in WoW.
yeah.
So you'd actually have your profession that you'd be doing, like it was an actual activity during the daytime, and then at night you were like a freedom fighter or whatever, and then you'd go off on your missions. And I was like, that sounds kind of cool, but it sounds like it could get really monotonous.
Yeah.
Like, well, I have to do my professions now. Okay, now I can do my missions. Now I have to do my professions. Now I can do my missions.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things Blizzard said is they weren't finding the fun.
Yeah,
So
that's exactly what. Yeah, if they can't find it fun, they didn't want to make it. So that's what they ultimately sat down and decided.
yeah.
I'm a bit disappointed. I mean, I know I've said this in a couple of tweets and other places across the internet. Blizzard, I'm almost worried for the company because Blizzard, how long can they sustain themselves on 3 IPs? I mean, sure, they're adding games like Heroes of the Storm and Hearthstone, but it's still, the same 3 games
Yeah.
they've had for 20 years. Like, I think Blizzard needs something new.
I'm hoping I'm not the only person who has been affected by this, but Blizzard, I'll just throw it out there now. There are things called Titans in WoW. We know that.
Mhm.
So when they were saying we've got a game called Titan, my gut instinct has been I know that obviously it could have been something else. It could have been based on the Moon Titan, and like you say, it could have been a Destiny game. But I was always under the impression at the back of my mind that this was something to do with WoW in some respect, or the Warcraft universe. Because if anything, I mean, you've got articles on places like Joystick and things like that, and they go Blizzard cancelled Titan, and the pictures are of the
Of
Titans
Titans,
from
yeah.
WoW, and
Yeah.
you sit there and think, was this just something else from the Warcraft IP? Because if it was, I don't think it would have done well
Well,
anyways.
Blizzard had come out and said that it wasn't. They had said that it was a brand new IP. I remember they said that a few years ago.
It is still weird that they would choose a code name of something
yeah.
in one of their existing IPs, though.
That's true.
Something they haven't yet visited.
Name it
in WoW.
Leviathan or something.
But-
I don't know.
But the big thing now is, and a lot of people are speculating about it, especially based on the comments that Chris Metzen and not Ian Isgosis, Mike Morheim, yeah,
Right, Mark?
that those two said during interviews, we could very much now see World of Warcraft 2 be a thing.
Hmm.
Especially going forward, I think it's a much bigger possibility now that they could focus on that.
They could
What does that mean,
focus on
though?
having. I think what it would mean is we'd eventually come upon an expansion that would be announced like this is the expansion that ends World of Warcraft. Like it would be a huge story thing. It would draw a bunch of stuff to a conclusion, and then it would be kind of like to be continued in WoW 2.0
Yeah.
type of thing. And then they'd go make a 2, and they'd be able to drastically change, update to one of the more action-based types of MMOs where you have more active stuff going on.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you think WoW is still a 10-year-old engine, and
Yeah.
they can't. I mean, adding Garrisons is a big enough thing to just add onto this engine, and they've just been
But
adding and adding and adding to it.
if you look how new MMOs play, Guild Wars 2, WildStar, much more movement and action based. They can't do that with WoW, period. Even if they wanted to, they can't. The engine
they can't make
isn't
a
built
big
for
change
it.
like that. Yeah.
But they could do that if they just made a new one.
If they did make World of Warcraft 2, what kinds of things would you guys like to see?
Put the factions away.
Yes.
Seriously, like something happens that makes them. You can still have PvP because you could still have, people get upset with each other and they fight. But something that draws them all together. And so there's no more factions. You can mix and match. Keep the same playable races. Maybe add some new ones. I mean, I'd be fine if they kept the same races and classes, but just change how everything works.
I think, in terms of a narrative, I think they probably have to do something like 200 years after WoW, a new threat rises. They'd have to really sort of separate the narratives, and maybe there was
They
some
could make
rich
a
facts.
Warcraft 4 in between.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
This is what I was going to say. I was going to think, if they're going to make a WoW 2 and totally redesign the engine, then why not try and amalgamate some elements of that real-time strategy into WoW? If it truly is a World of Warcraft, and we're on, as we stand, the verge of things like Garrisons, why can't my character have a garrison that then I can go into a sort of RTS mode? Not literally speaking, but I can actually create units and then go on NPC-style raids and things like that.
See, that's not feasible in WoW now, but
you couldn't.
New engine.
I mean, have that kind of be like solo scenarios. You go in there, you have a bunch of NPCs with you that you're doing your thing, very action based. I'm thinking kind of Dynasty Warriors-esque, if you guys have played the Dynasty Warriors games. So you run in and you're like, okay, I've got to accomplish these objectives. Archers go over here, cavalry charge right there. I'm going to go after their commander, and have that kind of be solo scenario type stuff. And then you have the other things where you're going with like other people. You don't have all your NPCs with you, and doing your more general like dungeons and raids that way too. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot they could do. There's a million different things they could do if they wanted to.
Several things I'd like to see. Obviously, a new engine, but I would like to see World of Warcraft 1 become completely free to play.
With all the expansions and everything.
Everything. Just it's a free to play game. I'd like to see character imports in some way or another from 1 to 2.
Similar maybe to how Guild Wars 2 had their Hall of Heroes type of thing.
Great. You could go back and get stuff that you earned from playing the first one. I loved how that worked. So something
really
like
cool.
that. Even if it's just like a little pet
So
that
you
was
have
a
that
representation of your last character. And then I can really see, with the success of Diablo 3, console version too. So it's console and PC MMO.
That'd be pretty cool. I wouldn't mind. I would, especially considering how the consoles are probably going to be slightly better off tapping into virtual realities. I mean, that'd be cool.
VR
Seeing
support would be cool.
exactly, yeah. I'd love to. I mean, putting on an Oculus or something of that ilk, and doing exactly what you just described, or just looking around a PvP style battlefield and just going at that. I mean, there's no reason why you couldn't have like almost a Skyrim style interface.
Yeah.
And then,
I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say bring up Skyrim.
yeah. Well, that could be your standard interface, and then you could have commands. I mean, maybe by the time they get around to this,
person mode would be cool.
And things like, we'll have things like connect that actually work, that can actually pick up fine-tuned hand movements and voice and things like that. So you could say, you could do a voice command to open up your backpack, or you could do a gesture that does a certain spell. I mean, that'd be amazing, but...
That almost seems to be pushing the bounds of what an MMO can be, but it'd be cool too. But it's all speculation, obviously. We don't even know. Nothing.
What if they just started having more than one game in each IP at a time? Like you have Diablo 3, the action RPG, and then you have
World of Diablo,
a Skyrim style of Diablo, which is very much more single player and more exploration like that at the same time.
Yeah.
Coexisting games in the same universe that are different styles.
Absolutely.
I think it would work. The only problem you'd have is, particularly from the Blizz we hear from now, is they're very timid towards splitting up efforts on a single.
It could seem to dilute stuff.
I mean, and I'm still, still on the point of I want a whole new IP from Blizzard. I mean, it'd just be cool. I mean, same style. I mean, Blizzard has a distinct style of games that they make, but
I think they need to finally finish a shooter.
Yes.
I mean, StarCraft Ghost was going to be a shooter. From the sounds of it, Titan was going to be. I think that's kind of where they've been leaning, but now they have 2 canceled games that were possibly in that style of being a shooter.
And then, I don't know, there was that leak too of Project Overwatch that nobody knows what that is, but that was a leak from Activision, not even confirmed Blizzard, but...
Yeah. But I would love to see an action RPG shooter from Blizzard.
Again, everybody needs to tune into the show the week before BlizzCon, because by then we'll have every registered trademark will have been released. So if there's something new coming out of BlizzCon, we'll at least know its name.
And it'll be speculation central.
Yeah.
What is this? What does it mean? The Dark Below again?
Yes.
As a sort of follow-on comment, do you think when World of Warcraft started, it dominated the MMO market? If anything, a lot of people could say it started, and it still does.
Yeah.
But do you think
it still does?
Do you think by the time we get something like WoW 2.0, Blizzard will be able to have that impact in video games that it does still? I mean, it's been amazing up until now, but I find it hard to believe that they can stave off the competition consistently. I mean, they've got a lot of money and a lot of intelligent, smart people, but...
It would have to be a game changer. I mean, that's the only way to do it. It would have to completely change the way you look at an MMO.
Well, World of Warcraft kind of perfected the theme park style MMO. And now, like I mentioned earlier, we have all these more action-based MMOs. But there's always issues people have with them. Like, they're good games. I've played, Guild Wars 2 and WildStar. They're fun, they're good, but they just don't, for me at least, they don't have that thing that's held, hooked me in, like World of Warcraft has.
Exactly.
And so they don't have to make a brand new thing. They just have to perfect what everyone else is trying to do.
That's kind of what Blizzard does, too. I mean, have you seen Heroes of the Storm?
Yeah, that's what they do. They look at, okay, this is doing well, people like this, let's take it, and let's polish it beyond anything these people have seen.
Yes.
And just really hone in on what is fun about it.
Player
cut
housing?
Out the unneeded
How about player
parts.
basing?
So, I mean, they could come in and do that, and I think, as far as dominating the same way WoW has, I think they may be able to at first, have a huge launch, but I don't know if it would hold on to it for as long as WoW is. I think things change at a faster pace now.
Yeah.
So I think they could have a huge impact at first and then stay successful, but not keep that massive lead for so long that WoW has had.
I'd love to see just either something that takes on EVE, or something that's a bit like a Titanfall style RPG mech. Yeah, I want a Gundam MMO, effectively. That's what I'd love to see. So if Blizzard, if anyone from Blizzard ever listens, I will
So
Just
let's
add
make a
next
pay
shooter.
good money for that to happen.
Let's make a shooter action
World
RPG
of
such as
StarCraft.
Destiny or Borderlands, but it's mechs instead of just you with a gun.
World of StarCraft.
Well, no, it would be Galaxies of StarCraft,
Yes, there you
not to be confused with Star Wars Galaxies.
go. Yeah.
Yes, something entirely different.
No new game experience.
All right. Any more thoughts on this? Blizzard canceling Titan before we move on.
I just hope they talk a little bit more about it at BlizzCon and kind of maybe just talk a little bit about what it means for the company. Like, since we've canceled this is kind of what we're focusing on now. This is
Yeah.
what we're thinking of.
We want closure, Blizzard.
We need closure.
Especially considering Mike Morhaime and Chris Metzen said together that the reason this thing was cancelled was because they didn't want to put out something that could have damaged the trust and credibility of Blizzard and between Blizzard and its gamers. And I think exactly what you just said, Zul. If they can come out and say, listen, this is kind of what we were planning, and we pulled back, and these are the kind of reasons why we did it, other than, we didn't want to break down trust. I think it will do some good, because I think players want to understand why, like you say, like we've just said, why we're still playing the same 3 IPs in support of Blizzard. So that'd be good. A little bit of transparency. They're getting really good at that.
Yep. All right. Moving on to our other weekly segment, Warlords of Draenor. And this week, it's not one of the Warlords at all. He's not even an orc. This week, we get to talk about Murad. This one, I really liked it, surprisingly, and not being an Alliance character follower or anything like that, but I don't know, what do you guys think? Go ahead.
I don't know. It seemed a little cliche to me, almost. It was, oh, I let revenge get the better of me, so I want to go back and fight them for revenge. What? You're like, he wants to go back to prevent what happened, but it sounds like his motivation is the same thing that caused him to step away from the people he was trying to save in the first place. I want to go kill these horrible bloodthirsty orcs because last time I did that is what caused me to be all depressed now. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, the art style is still amazing. It's really well done, really cool to watch, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
I completely agree with you. But the art style is really, I mean, it's kind of what captures me about it, really, is it still just captures, especially this one, the brutality of the orcs and what they do.
It's true. This one did really set up, like we
if
need
they- if
to
they-
worry about
if we
these
don't
guys.
stop them, this is what they're going to do to us.
Yeah, we need to
So-
worry about these guys.
Well, I'll be 100% honest. I haven't seen it because, when we started, you guys said there's a 5th one, and I remember thinking, but we've seen them all. How could there be a 5th one? So I promised myself I'd get a chance to look at it before the show, but I haven't. So I very much thought I'd lean on you guys for this. However, as someone who hasn't seen it, from what I'm guessing, is it a little bit, Zul, you said it was a bit cliche. Is it getting to this sort of, Darth Vader style, you try and fight the anger within, and then suddenly you become that anger, or something like that? Is that we talked a couple of weeks ago about how this was going to be very much like Pandaria in the sense that it's fighting the enemy within us as well as the enemy without us. Is that the tone it's setting still?
Well, like, because it shows
Savagery within.
shows Murad, however you say it. And they're at Shatrath, right?
Mhm.
And they're watching the orcs attack, and he sees this one orc in particular, one of their leaders, just slaughtering people. And then,
Spoilers.
yeah. Spoilers.
I
if
think
you
that
haven't
was a
watched
given.
The
The
6-minute
killing
video.
people was a given.
The 6-minute long video about his history of things that have already happened. But so he sees this one orc kind of slaughtering them, and then Murad's leader is like, you need to take these civilians and escape, get them out. And so he's like, okay, that's my duty, that's my job, that's what I got to do. And as he's leading them away, he sees that one orc that's been slaughtering people, and he's like, oh, there he is, I have my chance. And he turns and he tells the civilians, okay, go, finish, get to the exit point. I'm going to go take this guy out. He goes, he takes him out pretty quickly and easily, honestly. And then he goes back and all those civilians are slaughtered. And they focus in on a woman and child, dead on the ground. And he's like, oh no, my thirst for, revenge and battle caused these civilians I was supposed to protect to die. Like, I failed in my duty.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say it's pushing the same thing that Pandaria did.
And
no, it does sound a bit different.
And the reason that he gives this story is because Varian Rin is like, why are you so eager to go in and fight this, this Iron Horde, this other people? He's like, and he says this is why, because I failed last time. I want to go prevent this from happening again.
Yeah.
Which that makes sense. Like, that part fits. But like I said, it seems like, okay, so he wants to go fight the orcs because last time he stopped to go fight the orcs ended really well for him. Not quite.
I still really just like what Blizzard has done here, and now that it's over and we can look back at all of them, I think it was a great little mini-series altogether.
I agree completely.
And I really want to see more of this coming from Blizzard, just because it's another way to get the lore, get more of what's happening, what you're about to face, other than reading
They're short
the books.
little videos.
Because a lot of people don't go out and read the books, so this is another
This is like
way.
a 6-minute video.
Yeah.
Nice and quick.
Yeah, and I think it's great, just like the Emperor Xiaohao one. I think these ones are better because it's more Warcrafty and not, Kung Fu Panda, but... But yeah, I mean, overall, with the whole series, looking back, I thought it was great.
I agree. They're really cool. Really like the art style.
I think I totally agree with you guys. I think it's been a great way to sell that narrative to people because, a lot of people, like you say, wouldn't have accessed the material before game and they would have missed out on something. And it goes, in a way, I'm just going to segue into something I was thinking of just before the show. With things like dungeons up until now, and in some cases raids, there is almost a breakdown in narrative. You go into a dungeon through, I was about to say LFR, LFD. I was forgetting what I was going to say there. LFD, and you go into this new dungeon. You might not have never seen it before, but there's not always a good story narrative behind it. Do you think things like this, having that, like very, very, very short, like 30-second, 40-second videos, introducing, some of the narrative behind these places you're exploring in game, would be helpful?
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, if you, like me, viewed the spoilers of spoilers last week.
You didn't. You didn't look at them, did you?
No, just the first one. But
Oh,
even
that's
that
fine.
was enough to, wow, they're actually going to be implementing, because it's like the same quality as the intro to all of these. Like, every cinematic is like these intros, the high quality animations of the in-game characters. So everything is going to be more story centric, and there are cinematics in the dungeons. Haven't seen them, they just are black screens for the people who play the beta, but yeah. So I think we are getting more story focused, which, yes, as a lore nerd, I think it's awesome.
Why not? Because, going back to what we just talked about, Blizzard has done so well to create these stories. Why aren't they in game more? I mean, not to say they don't sell it well at the moment, and it's not portrayed, but I think there's a gap that up until now has been heavily relied on by the novels to fill in.
Or reading the quest text.
Or reading the quest text, which is very difficult for the 5th time round. So, yeah, no, 100%. And I think it's fantastic, but there's certainly a call for more of these. Not just other areas, but people specifically wanted the other Warlords. A lot of people want that. But yeah.
Any other thoughts before we move into our final segments of the show? No?
No, I think that's good.
All right, moving on to the Prince's Gaze, where we look at the community of the World of Warcraft. And this week, WoW Krendor released a video. We've mentioned him on the show before. We like him a lot. WoW Krendor released a video. He's been playing Warcraft 3 in a series of videos on his YouTube channel. and he happened to notice that a lot of the places in Warcraft 3 are also in, what do you know, they're also in World of Warcraft.
What?
So, yeah, so we'll play a little clip of his video here so you can see what I'm talking about.
Hello everyone, how's it going? I'm Krendor and welcome to my Warcraft 3 in World of Warcraft video. This was inspired by, number one, me playing Warcraft 3 so much, as you've seen on my channel, and I saw a thread on the WoW Reddit by Tanking with Guns who made some Arthas/Lich King in-game lore spots you may have missed, and I thought, that would be really cool to make a video of all this, and kind of just recap like what's happened in my Warcraft 3 Let's Play so far, and just all the cool things you see in Warcraft 3 put into WoW that I may have not even noticed, or you may have not even noticed when you were actually playing the game. So let's take a look. First up, we have the Defense of Strombrod, which is Chapter 1 in the Human Campaign, which is the Orcs have uprisen in southern Lordaeron and have forced the Alliance to take decisive measures to contain the Orcish threat. And it's the first mission. You get Arthas, and you go and defend the city and kill all the Blackrock Orcs and everything. So this is Strombrod in WoW. I remember seeing this place and being like, whoa, what is this? And now I'm like, whoa, this actually has some relevance to me now. So it's up in the Alterac Mountains.
Cool stuff there. If you want to watch the full video, check him out on youtube.com/wowkrendor. I thought that was really cool, though, that he made this video, just to see how Blizzard actually did that, you know, implementing almost every location, actually, from Warcraft 3 into World of Warcraft. Just a lot of people haven't actually noticed that.
That's it, and that at the end of the video he touches on. I won't spoil it, but he touches on something to do with Arthas and a place you can visit in Icecrown, and that is based on an incredible little bit of narrative for when Arthas fights Illidan. So I definitely watched the whole thing. It's so great that you can actually just feel that game come alive when you visit these places. The Sunworld in particular, I love that place just because it's so full of story.
That's why I loved Northrend so much. It had so much lore to it. So our final segment of the show, Hero's Call, where we just give any shout-outs. Does anybody have any shout-outs this week to anybody in the community or in their game or anything like that?
I think last week we gave a nice big shout-out to all our followers, so of course
Again.
that. Wait, no, there was one guy in particular who said he's been listening since episode 1.
Yes.
Who was that? I can find it really quick right here. Because he deserves a shout out.
Yes, he does.
100% prepared for this.
Find you soon. Find you soon. Zach, your Twitter handle is myrothval3. Shout out to you, Zach.
Yes.
Thanks for the follow.
Yeah.
I will also add a sort of a non-WoW related one. We've got our own Drakas and Sparky out. We're not at EGX London, I imagine, now, but they've been there. So, and I know a couple of people have been sort of going up to them and saying hi and things like that, and they've been getting really involved with everyone there. So, if you've been to EGX London or you've been following up what Drakas and Sparky have been doing, shout out to you guys. I'm very jealous.
But that's about it. That wraps up our show for the week. Thank you all for listening very much. You can find Geeks of Azeroth on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Twitch TV, and again, I say this every week, and I mean it for sure this time, we're coming to Hitbox.
That's my fault. That's my fault. I keep promising to set it all up. I've 100% will. It will either be set up or we will not keep saying that it will be set up. So something will change.
Something will
by next
change.
week. I
Quote,
promise.
Tom. All right, and you can catch us all on Twitter at Geeks of Azeroth. You can follow me personally at Tarly_pause with a Z. Zool, where can we find you?
At Zulgeek.
What about you, Tom? Where can we find you?
At TC McIlroy.
Of course, and you can always send us messages, questions, shout-outs via Gmail at geeksofazerothe@gmail.com. And remember to check out www.epicgeeks.co.uk for more shows. We've got plenty of podcasts, Let's Plays, just a lot of gaming stuff for you to check out over there. So you should definitely do it. But otherwise, we'll be back same time, same place next week for another episode of Geeks of Azeroth. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Yeehaw!